It's time that we step up and break those different curses that have been passed down to us from our mother, from our grandmothers, from our great-grandmothers, from their great-great-grandmothers, because it all comes down from that slavery mindset. Hey lovelies, welcome back to Living Out Loud with Moe Nicole. In this video, I am going to be sharing with you all why I have made the decision to not date in 2020 and to focus on breaking those generational curses that I have found to run within my family, more specifically, the Black women in my family. I was on the fence about making a video such as this, just because I know by me telling my truth, it then puts potentially other people on the stage. But then it hit me and I had to remember this is my story and this is my journey and these are my truths. And the reality is they're most likely probably not even going to watch this video anyway. And so I wanted to come on here and share with you all just those different generational curses that we see within the Black family and the Black women within families that we don't oftentimes talk about in society. We don't talk about toxic mothers. We don't talk about toxic grandmothers. We don't talk about those different things that are passed on, those curses that are passed on from generation to generation, and they're continuously perpetuated. And I'm just ready to break them. I'm ready to break free from them all. All right, so I need y'all to go on and grab your water and your tea, because it's about to get real. It's about to get probably a little emotional, and I'm just about to let it all out. There are some generational curses in my life and things that I began to perpetuate within my own personal actions that really became very prevalent in 2019. Now, these are things that I had, noticed prior, and I found myself looking at ways to, try to get them to dissipate. I went to counseling and began looking on the inside of me to see like, hey, what's going on? Without realizing that a lot of the things that were going on with me were results of things that I was raised around and the different energies that I've seen. And, we have to remember, like the social learning theory, we learn more from what we see versus what we hear. And a lot of those curses, they began to affect me and my dating habits. They began to affect me in the different choices that I began to make. And it was never healthy. And I know there are a lot of women out there now who are going through similar things right now. And they may not really realize that, sis, it's generational. It's something that you've been seeing. It's something that you saw your mom go through. It's something that you saw how your grandmother was, to the point where now you're starting to live out and act out these same things unknowingly. So I grew up around a lot of toxic Black women. When I say toxic Black women, I say the ones who, when you get in trouble, they're cussing you out. You don't get just like a regular whooping. You getting popped upside the head with pans, and you maybe even get called out your name. You see them getting into fights continuously with their mates. You see the emotional and the mental abuse, whether if it's talking about your body, talking about your shape, what if it's, shaming you, what if it's, we saw within our families oftentimes too, the light-skinned family members got a little bit of different treatment than the darker-skinned family members. And I know that's not something that just occurred within my family, but it occurred in other families as well. We saw a lot of favoritism that will be played from different, aspects. And these are things that I don't think we really realize really affects, our lineage and what comes after us. And not only affects, the girls that are growing up around it, but it affects our young men as well. It affects how they may view the Black woman. It affects how they may go about their dating habits, who they choose to date and how they choose to date. And on my end, I realized I made choices with the wrong men. I made choices with giving my time to the wrong friends. I made choices to participate in activities that weren't good for me. These were my choices, and I accept that. But I also realized the effect of where I learned these behaviors from, and it's all generational. These are things that we had seen around us, even down to when it comes to the gossiping. We see so much gossiping that happens within the Black family and within the Black women, to the point where it can become second nature. If your own family can talk about you and say certain things or go back and share something that you shared in confidence, it's not a problem for, them to share it or talk about it with a stranger, and these are things that I had to come to grips with, to the point where, I just shut down that talk. As soon as I hear it, I'm like, all right, I'm trying to turn it to something positive, or I'm getting off the phone, because then I realize, like, okay, this is no longer becoming a moment for me to just share what's going on, but it's turned into, a vent session, and it's turning into like a dogging session, And even when I look at over my life, over the different women that are in my family, there was only really a couple Black women in my family that weren't toxic, And even in this, I only really saw one good, healthy marriage growing up. And these are things that we really don't look at. What is a healthy marriage? A healthy marriage is a partnership, not where one partner is talking above this partner. It's not, the arguing, the fighting, the calling the names. That's not a healthy relationship or a marriage. And I only really saw that with my grandmother and my grandfather. I never saw them argue. I always saw them have a partnership. They always had their own particular roles that they played and in what they did. And even when it came to, the women in my family, my grandmother and my aunt were like my biggest supporters, and rest in peace to my grandmother. I miss her each and every day, because her and my auntie have always been my biggest supporters with everything that I've done, from my first car to, me getting my first job and not knowing how I would get to my job. It was my grandmother who would take me every day to work and pick me up. It was my grandmother who helped me get through high school, who helped me pay for those different dues that I needed to pay for. My auntie, she also was a very big help and chip in when it came to, that first car, and even with those different business ventures that I've taken since that time, they've always been there. Even if I do switch up and do a different business, they're still there front and center. To this point, my auntie watches all my YouTube videos. She doesn't comment on them all, but she watches them all, and we talk about it, and she shares with me, oh, I saw this, I saw that. And those are the things that I care about, and I love and I appreciate, because it shows that although you may see where I may have messed up or fell from grace sometimes, you don't hold that against me. But that's not like that all within the Black family. Let's keep it real. We hold a lot of grudges. We have a lot of parents who have jealousy towards their children. We have a lot of parents that don't know how to be parents. We have a lot of old grown folks who are gossiping and sharing information that you share with them in confidence. You have siblings who aren't very there or supportive, or even with thinking the negative, about certain things. I had posted something on my Facebook page on, why is it that most of your support typically comes from strangers? And shout out to Karen Nelson. I hope you're watching this, but she had commented on it, and she had shared that she feels that most of her negative feedback comes from her family. And she feels that some of it may come from the fear of the jealousy of you may being, rising higher or doing better than them. Because oftentimes when people see you go in a different direction, that can mess with a person's ego to make them feel that, okay, you going in that direction, what makes you want to go in that direction? Like, this is the direction, it's something different, without realizing something different doesn't necessarily mean bad, to the point where now different assumptions and stuff can be made. And I'm not saying that everyone is jealous, that everyone will have those ulterior motives, but when your spirit doesn't sit well with certain things or what people say and do, listen to it. I don't care what anyone says when it comes to what that support or things may look like. Support can be free. It's not buying anything. Support could be versus just calling someone whenever you want to vent about something, asking how they're doing. I have so many people who contact me just to vent, and not once do they ever just contact me to see how I'm doing. And those are the same people who really don't be supporting shit. Like, let's keep it real in 100. And those are things that have come across through generations. These are learned behaviors. People can only give what they know how to give, you know. And the Black woman in general, I feel that we have this sense of energy and power within us that can help heal and grow people if we really tap into that energy, if we really tap into that power. But many of us are not tapping into it. So now we're left here sitting with the same things over and over and over to the point where it becomes a cycle. We want the next to struggle because we had to struggle to get to where we are, and we feel that that's the way to be. And on that note, just because you had to struggle to get to where you are at, we should not want to have to put someone else through the struggle to get to where they're trying to get to as well. We should be trying to find a way to make it easier, which is why I'm 31, almost 32 without children, because I feel that I don't want to bring a child into this world until I know I can give them a great foundation to the point where I can be healthy mentally, still grind for my businesses and be successful as an entrepreneur, but then also be able to give my child the attention and everything that they need. And I'm not fully there at that place yet. So I have made that conscious decision to not even do the things that are going to put me in a place of having children, you know, because it was expected. My family expected me to be pregnant and to have children by now, you know, because within my family, all the women had been done having children by this age now. You know, I'm the only one who's stepping out, taking these different risks. And so it's challenging the narrative of what our generational experiences have been up until this point. So these different generational curses, they spill over into our lives in so many ways. It spills over into how a child's confidence is built up. It goes into how your dating habits are, how your relationships are with your friends, what type of friendships do you choose to have and keep around you. All of these generational curses, they're much deeper than the surface. You know, it's much deeper than someone having an anger outburst. And on that note, it's much deeper. It goes into how do we view others? How are we able to really fully support others? It's hard for someone who has grew up without having any type of support to really fully know how to support someone else. So either you're going to be on this end of the spectrum or the other. You're going to be on the spectrum where you are supporting to do everything because you're just like, I'm giving people what I wish I had, or you're only giving what you've learned how to give from other people. It's really not a middle ground. You have either a lot to, I'm just giving what I know how to give. And these are things that we really don't look at within these generational curses, you know, especially within our dating habits. And so I began to live into those different choices when it came to having to push through those different insecurities that I had, when it came to having to be honest with the type of man that I found myself being interested in. You know, it was the sweet talkers, the ones who talk good, but their actions really don't account for it. But then me being, you know, a forgiving person of giving different choices or saying, you know, well, I can learn to accept you for who you are. You know, I'm not going to judge you. On that note, that's dangerous territory to walk in. Although we shouldn't be judgmental of someone else, it's important that we're honest with what it is that we have in front of us, okay? And I've done it within my past life. You know, I've done it. I've dated the liars. I've dated the cheaters. And, you know, to keep it real, I have messed with a married person before. Did I know he was married when I first met him? No. But later I ended up finding out, and I didn't cut it off immediately. Is that something that I'm happy about? Not at all. Not at all. And some people may shun me after coming out with this truth, but it's my truth. It's my decision that I made based off of what I knew and how I was feeling, you know, going across the whole, oh, I'm getting a divorce. Don't believe it, ladies. And even if they really are, don't believe it until they're done. Don't believe it until they're done. Those are curses. Those are things that you've seen and that I've seen within life that have, you know, made me feel like, oh, it's not that bad. It's not my covenant that I'm in. But yeah, it's not my covenant that I was in. but it's still something that it should be on my conscience, It's something that I should have had more respect for myself with, of knowing like I'm better than having to share someone who is not able to be honest with their mate. That showed how much I fully cared for myself in that moment. And if anyone who is watching this is, married and cheating, or, the outsider messing with a married person, I'm not judging you, but I am saying I want you to look within yourself and ask yourself, why are you doing this? And if it's something that you just believe in, because I know some people are swingers and some people do believe in polygamy, and I have nothing against you if that is you. But at this time of my life, when I did this, I wasn't following that. And I had to realize within those different actions, I couldn't keep up with that, He wasn't, in 2019, but it was still something that I had done in the past that I had to be honest with myself and be like, no, sis, you can't do this. You can't do this. It's not right at all. And yeah, like, you can't settle for half time. Because when you're settling for half, that's saying what you believe in yourself, and you have to have more of that. I realized I had to have more than that. I had to break those different curses. And so 2019 was a very interesting year for me when it came to dating, and it was after I was in a relationship and I actually got ghosted. Out of nowhere, I had booked a trip somewhere and I guess he was kind of upset. That was my assumption. Let me put that out there. It was my assumption that he was upset that I, booked a trip somewhere else versus coming to visit him. And I got ghosted, Later on, he did eventually reach out to me and said that he had fell into a deep state of depression and, didn't feel like talking to anyone or doing anything. But even in that moment, I felt so wrong for being okay with wanting to accept that, because then now you're telling me that in the relationship that you really didn't care about me or love me as much as you said you did, because you should have been able to at least say that to me, versus ignoring messages. You know what I'm saying? And so it was that moment where I realized, like, Monica, you need to look a little deeper within yourself and the type of men that you allow in your life, the sweet talkers, the ones who seem to fall fast. I can't trust the man who falls fast anymore, because they are always the ones who seem to either be a look cray. And then the dishonesty. But can I really be mad at them for being dishonest with me if I wasn't fully being honest with myself? If I was allowing myself to accept, you telling me that you were just busy, which is why you couldn't respond back to me, and me being like, okay, I understand. But then knowing that I'm a very busy person, but I can still get back to someone too. We do what's on our priority list. You know what I'm saying? And I had to realize, like, I can't accept that anymore. I just can't. And so the current culture of dating, we learn how to date firstly from our parents and those who raised us, and what we see with them. So if you see your parent constantly, having issues with their mate or going back and forth with, X, Y, and Z, those are things that you become to get accustomed to. Those are the things that you begin to see the most. Those are the things that you begin to see as being okay. And the reality is it's not okay. Like, those are things that we should not be okay with seeing. Those should not be normalized. But as I said earlier with the social learning theory, we learn more from what we see and what we're involved in socially versus what is told to us. So for example, you can tell me don't touch the fire because it's hot. But if I see you touch the fire, I'm gonna be like, oh, it can't be that hot. I can do it. And I'm gonna touch the fire. And we have to think about that as parents and as friends and as teachers. You can't tell your children to do X, Y, and Z but then you're doing X, Y, and Z, what do you think they're going to do? Questions that need answers. I'm just saying. And so my plan for going into 2020, I'm not dating in 2020. I'm not dating in 2020. I'm only dating myself. I'm only dating my business. I'm only putting all that energy into myself to push myself to be to where I know I can be and where I will be. But then also to utilize and use my story to help motivate other people. There are going to be people who just still see you for who they knew you as. There's going to be people who are going to refuse to see you for who you're becoming. And that's okay. It's not our job, and I'm realizing more and more, it's not our jobs to prove to them why our new journey is worth it. They'll see it one day, but it's up to them on if they see it in due time or if when they see it, it's too late. Because we see all the time, people want to come back around after they see you that made it, and they like, oh yeah, I know her. But then it's okay to, understand and be like, hey, having other people not fully there or supporting or pushing certain things is what pushed me to want to become even better. And I don't see people for who they were. I see people for who they are now. And when I see consistent behaviors, then that's when you need to let it go. Don't get caught in the funk of allowing someone to continuously say, I'm sorry, and keep coming back. I'm just saying. And so I'm okay with, meeting friends, or I'm okay with conversing. But if it comes to, me going out, dating, talk to someone, that's not for me in 2020. My shirt says single but not solo. God is with me. God is with me. And wherever I go, so on my solo trips or go to the movies I don't go to the movies, but if I was to go to the movies or out to eat, I cook now and all that. Like, I'm not wasting money on stuff. I'm not solo. God is with me. And I'm at peace with that. I'm at peace with knowing that there's a calling over my life. There's a calling that was meant just for me. And I'm walking into that. I sent an email out to my listserv from my blog, and I was, saying, yay, I made 1,000 subscribers on, YouTube, yay. And out of all the people that listserv went to, I got one response back, right? A complete stranger. But this stranger spoke so much life over me, spoke so much positivity over me, but then also gave some profit type of speaking, to the point where they knew what I had kind of been feeling about certain things, and they spoke on, there's some people that are around you that may be showing some jealous behaviors, and they may be, trying to project certain things on you and manipulating the situation to make you feel that you're wrong. Don't believe it. And I'm just like, okay, we talking some wisdom there. Like, this person doesn't know me. And I take that as the universe and God, showing me what it is that I needed to know and what I needed to hear in those moments. And it's like, I'm breaking curses in 2020. I'm breaking the financial generational curses. I'm breaking the emotional generational curses. I'm breaking the mental health generational curses. I'm breaking that toxic behavior generational curses. And Black women, everyone watching this, because it's not just Black women. I know it's in other families too, but I'm only speaking from my own personal experience. It's time that we step up and break those different curses that have been passed down to us from our mother, from our grandmothers, from our great-grandmothers, from their great-great-grandmothers, because it all comes down from that slavery mindset that we had beaten into us, from that competitive nature that we had beaten into us when our ancestors saw our Black men being taken and raped and beaten and demasculated in front of them, to the point where it then took away some of that respect that we have for the Black men. That is within us. That has grown within us to the point where it has become a generational curse, and it makes it hard for us to have fully healthy relationships, because it's hard for us to fully be able to first respect the black man, but then on the other end, the black man got his own stuff going on too, so now it's making it hard for him to be able to love. But I'm telling you now, the woman is the one who has the power. The woman is the one who has the power to heal. The woman is the one who has the power to uplift and grow and give life. We have the power to grow life inside of us. That's powerful. Yes, the man provides the semen, but it's the woman who provides life. So however way we choose to take that life and grow that life, that's what is going to be the fruit of our labor. So when we see our black men, I can't just blame it all on them. I blame it on the mother and also on that father. But at the end of the day, the mother, I believe, is the head when it comes to the nurturing and the growing and giving that foundation of a person and what it is that we do. We have some strong shoes to fill. Now, I'm not a mother biologically, but I have children who call me mom. And I take that serious when I have them and when I'm around them, because I understand the impact that I can have on their life. And I want us all to be able to see that, because we got some generational curses hanging around us. And it's affecting us in our relationships, in our friendships, in everything, you know, and it's time to go. It's time to go. It's time to step up our game. And I'm thankful for those of you who have made it to the end of this video. Look, I didn't give any type of, look, I got so deep into it, you know, but I want you to make sure that if you want to keep following this journey, these self-care Saturdays, these different talks, because we have Making Moves Monday, Wheels Up Wednesday, Self-Care Saturday, and sometimes Sunday. And my goal is to always put something out there that can help us to be able to live out loud within our personal truth, so that we can grow and develop and become our better self in whatever it is that we're doing. And I love y'all. Like, I really do. I do feel that you can love a stranger. If you have a love for yourself and a love for mankind, you can definitely love a stranger. And I want to see the best for all of us. I want to see us break out of those different curses. I want us to see us break out of those different things that have affected us within our lifetime and change them up as we're in this new decade. I refuse to have old wounds walking with me in this decade, because I can't keep doing the old things, accepting something new. And so thank you for watching this video. You know, leave me a comment down below to let me know how you're feeling, what you think about this video. If you have any suggestions on another topic related to that you would like to hear, I'm all for it. I'm actually thinking about bringing back the Moe Mondays when it comes to Make a Move Mondays, where we're having these live discussions and talking about the different things that may be affecting us and within our communities. And I'm just forever grateful and thank you for this. And I'm going to see y'all in the next video. Make sure y'all hit that subscribe button if you haven't already hit it. Give me a nice little thumbs up to let me know that you like this content. And I will see y'all in the next video. Love you. Peace. And continue to always live out loud.